Trigonometry is for right-angled triangles. The first thing to do with so katoa is to make sure that you label your sides. You can see what the sides equal in this diagram. Before you label your sides, you must first select your angle. By selecting this angle, which I'm going to call A, this is the hypotenuse, the longer side. Adjacent to the angle is touching it, so this side along the bottom is adjacent, and this one over here is opposite, is all the way opposite the angle. So we need to label our triangle with O, A and H first. If we were to label the top angle, the opposite side would be down the bottom, and the adjacent side is next to the angle hypotenuse the same. Now notice the opposite and adjacent have changed sides depending on which angle we look at. So here we can see by looking at the red angle, the opposite is on the left. By looking at the green angle, the adjacent is on the left. Before we can do any of these triangles, we need to select the angle before we label the sides. So selecting this angle, we can see that this is opposite, this is adjacent, here's the hypotenuse. If we select this angle, here's the hypotenuse, here's the adjacent, here's the opposite. Select this angle, here's the opposite, here's the adjacent, hypotenuse. Do the other three, and then have a look at the answers. You could have labelled it like that, or like this. And the opposite and adjacent sides will depend on which angle you are looking at. To calculate length Z, label the angles. And cross out the angle that doesn't have a letter or a number with it. This is paired up, this is paired up. Cross out the loner. We have got O and A. O and A is toa. Always take the tangent of the angle and times it by the adjacent side, the last letter, to get your answer. If you got an answer of -9, that's because your calculator is in radians. You need your calculator in degrees first. To calculate the height of the tree, label your sides OAH, cross out the one that doesn't apply. The height equals the tangent of the angle times the side. There's your answer. And we're not sure whether it's meters or what. Always multiply by the last letter for so, ka and toa. It's important that we multiply by the last letter, otherwise we'll get our answer incorrect. And when we're finding angles, divide by the last letter. And we use inverse cosine, inverse tan, inverse sine. So to calculate angle P, label your sides. Cross out the adjacent because it's not paired up. O and H means to use the sine. Because it's an angle, it's inverse sine. Divide by the last letter. 48.1 degrees to 1 decimal place. And don't get yourself confused.